What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code, DC UPenn's finest, Chris Coulter, CB Coach Boy. We have another great episode for you guys today. We will be talking about the NFC North. Last week we did the AFC. If you didn't see that, go check that out. This week we're doing the NFC North: Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Obviously, we're going to bring their over/under win total that they have, see where they're going to land, talk about the additions that they made, subtractions, key factors and whatnot. Of course, before we get into anything, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, download the episode, 5-star review, all that good stuff to push the algorithm. But we can swing it to Danny for Summits and Plummets. And Danny is far, far away, I guess. Is
Nah, I'm not far away. So Summit of the week is going to be the Phillies won a game on probably, I'm going to double Summit. Phillies won a game on probably on a one of two occurrence of all time, a walk-off catcher's interference. The last time it happened was 1973. Pretty crazy. 50-plus years ago it happened. Last time, walk-off catcher's interference. So, I feel like baseball always has those random stuff more than other ones, to be honest. I don't know.
But interference is just absolutely bonkers to me. But
yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to say baseball has like the most like unique. Maybe it does because it's been around like pretty long, and you'll still get like this person was the first to ever do this, or this person is only one of 20 players to ever do this. Like in like only like how many cycles are there ever?
a lot. There's a lot of cycles.
Not really though. Like quick
349. Sorry.
349 in a game that is like 150 years old with 100 plus games a season, and we only got that 300 something times.
Yeah,
that's pretty. Once or twice, that's pretty rare. That is pretty rare. That is pretty rare.
That's fair, especially because they play so much. They play like
exactly. That's more so the point. More than like the longevity to get, like they play 100, was it 150 games?
62.
162 games every single year, and only one or two players across 30 teams in baseball can do it. It's pretty crazy.
And low-key, the crazy part is it doesn't even make you one of the best players in the league to be able to do it.
No, yeah, you just got to be lucky. Like, it also like obviously this is more impressive, like a 4 home run day.
That is the most impressive feat in baseball.
Yeah, like that would be the most impressive thing. But it's like let's say you get a home run, triple, double, and it's like, oh, it's a great outing, but it's like not a cycle. How memorable will it be? It'll be a great 4-for-4 game, but
yeah, I believe the most rare thing in baseball is to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. It's happened, I think, one time.
I was about to say, I think that's probably the craziest thing I see. Or one person hitting 2 grand slams in one game. Like just for the base to be for that guy twice.
And you have to and your team has to get on base as well. So like it's such a obviously like the guy hitting the home run gets like 75% of the credit, but like other guys got to do their part though.
Yeah.
And they got to keep teeing off on the pitcher. So any Plummet, another Summit?
It's another Summit. Probably be in Boston this weekend. After my training in New York or North Jersey, I'm likely going to Boston and stopping at Phillies Yankees Friday night in the Bronx. So should be a good time.
Got this. Living my dream.
Got this beautiful Treyway powder blue with me.
Treyway, you just sent me back like a smooth 8 years.
As you should. We were on the way home from training today, and you know what I was listening to?
Say 6ix9ine, and I'll boot you. I was
in the fancy, even way back.
Yeah, not a bad one.
That's Chris. That's your era of high school.
Your era is crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm watching. My era is actually Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I said your era of high school.
Yeah, so my era of high school is actually Earth, Wind, and Fire. What did LeBron say? We was on the bench.
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
LeBron was talking to Luke. He's like, yeah. I was like World War II. Like, all right, brother. All All right.
Yeah, I saw a person made a video on TikTok, and they were like, "What was the Madden the year? Like, who was on the cover of Madden the year it came out?" I'm 02, so it was Dante Culpepper.
Like
Do you want to know what the kid put on the post?
Like
Adrian Peterson.
2013 Calvin Johnson.
Ooh.
Would have been Adrian Peterson for the new gen cover. Or that might have been that was the following year. Madden 25. Barry was the old gen. Adrian Peterson was new gen. But yeah, he said Calvin Johnson. I'm like, wow, we really have like that was like the first Madden I got when I moved to the new home. I can't believe someone was just born that year and now they're like walking among us. That's an unbelievable.
They're not walking among us. They are borderline entering high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. We do have to get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
They need to be eliminated.
What does that mean?
Because they're out here walking in their sprinkled donut shorts and their baseball caps, screaming 6'7". I'm no better than them though.
What's wrong with that?
All right.
You saw the umpire. The umpire said.
I definitely saw that. I definitely saw that. Yeah, that was bad. Here, let's not waste too much more time. Let's move to Chris for his summits and plummets.
Bro, I seen that today actually, and that was hilarious.
So
I've never seen that was worse. That was the worst thing I've ever seen, bro. It was really bad. But I will say, Summit. Oh, we got a new car. That's cool. I forgot to tell y'all. This literally happened on Saturday. Got a new
gas, or did you get a clanker?
A clanker. No.
Oh no.
So is he? I got a.
I'm outnumbered here. 2 guys rocking clankers. I'm the only one on gas.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm on gas. I got it's a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we were trying to get the E version, but it's a little more expensive. And I was like, you know what? Somebody around there is working to save our planet already. So why would I stop their hard work? Give them something to work for. No, I'm trying.
Can't be mad at that. That's a good take.
But yeah, that was cool. I think I had another summit too. Oh, Cedar's birthday. Oh, it's not. I'll wait. I'll give that summit next week because his official 6 months will be next week. But I start my new job on Monday, so that's my other summit. 2 life summits for me. So
there we go. Can't be mad at that for sure. I guess a quick summit. Playing my first game tonight in like 2 weeks. Not exactly excited, but hey, get to go and move around. Can't be mad at it. But I did want to cut my summits and plummets just a bit short. I did want to ask Chris about what do you thought about the Clippers? They had a busy week since the last time we record. We kind of knew this was coming, or at least Chris did, and he informed us. But Bradley Beal going to the Clippers, Chris Paul farewell tour most likely with the Clippers. But this also kind of means that LeBron probably isn't retiring this year because he'd be damned if he's sharing a farewell tour. That's not happening. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the move? How do you think the Clippers are going to hold up? Obviously, they're the oldest group in the NBA, but these are a bunch of vets who are they've been through wars in the playoffs. They've made deep runs. They're very experienced, and that could be huge against teams like Houston or any up and coming young team. So yeah, what do you think about the Clippers this past week? I think you're on mute.
I forgot I muted so I could talk in the background. But I think it's a good move by the Clippers, just off the strength of when you're an older team, you need as much depth as you can have. So I think just having depth pieces is always good, especially when you're making any type of title run. But a team that's older, I think especially. I think it's cool for Chris Paul, obviously getting to go back to the Clippers where he probably had his best years, I would say. I think the Beal move was elite in the sense you trade Norman Powell for a need at the 4, which you did need a 4 because you had Kawhi playing the 4. And then you replace Norman Powell scoring with, I'd say, a better scorer than Brad Beal. Yes, he's had bad years the last few years. But career-wise, I'm taking Brad Beal over Norman Powell scoring-wise 1,000 times. And you got him on a prove-it contract for $5 million. I mean, I don't see a L in that, honestly. So it's kind of like you replace Paul George and Norman Powell now with Brad Beal and John Collins. And you're able to keep Bogey and keep Chris Dunn and Chris Paul. I think it's all W's. I think they have their center position sold up. They have their playmaker sold up. They got their wings sold up. They have forwards. They have pretty much everything you need to outlast the team. I think that's the most important. They're in that sweepstakes to be able to be in a 7-game series and not get worn out by game 4 or 5 because their guys are all playing 45 minutes a night. And even if they are, they haven't done it through the whole regular season, so they should have a little more juice. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and the term you use for Brad Beal, like prove it. Like one thing I'd say, he's gonna come in there, and his one goal is gonna be score. And if you ask me, Brad Beal don't gotta prove none to nobody when it comes to scoring the basketball. This man used to average 30. Like I know the past couple of years, like it's a couple guys have started to average 30. Tatum was 5th in the league in scoring, and he still averaged 30. But there was a time where that was a premium club. It still is. But there was like 2 guys doing it, and Brad Beal was one of them. So for him to be like your 3rd, 4th scoring option, maybe even coming off the bench, or he is coming off the bench, maybe, I don't know. He might start at the 2, and Harden will start at the 1.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume they'd start Chris Paul just for the sake of it.
Yeah, for my guy I talked to, the 2s are going to be between Brad and Chris Dunn for the most part. Chris Dunn is going to be the 2 to be able to guard in the backcourt for some time, but it's supposed to be Brad and Chris Dunn like swapping those minutes. The 2 and
so many ways they can go. So many ways.
Yeah, and I think Bogey being on the court is going to be so important for them. So I think he's going to be a sneaky guy who gets a lot of minutes because they need the standstill shooting. Like they have all the playmakers and scorers, but I think the standstill shooting of Bogey is going to be very important.
Yeah, and what I like about this Lob City 2.0 is that the old Lob City, like, yeah, everybody can throw lobs on a fast break, but Chris Paul can throw lobs from anywhere.
Yeah.
And so can James Harden. So now you have 2 guys who can throw lobs, and then you have John Collins, who's one of the highest flyers in the league. Derek Jones Jr. is arguably the highest flyer in the league. So I mean, this is going to be awesome. But let's move on to some NFL stuff. Let's talk the Chicago Bears. Going to give you guys the rundown on what their offseason looked like. So kind of some of the bigger stuff. They brought in Joe Thuney in a trade. Drew Dalman signed a 3-year deal at center. Jonah Jackson, another guy they brought in via trade to play guard. Kyler Gordon reached an extension, which is, I think, huge for that defense. And then obviously in the draft, they the biggest name, I guess you could say, they took was Luther Burden to help round out that wide receiver room. But besides that, it's well, I guess the biggest addition you could say was Ben Johnson at head coach, but it's pretty much a lot of familiar faces: Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Kyler Gordon, Roma Dunze, obviously their first round pick last year. So their over underline is currently set at 8.5 wins. Let's start with Chris. Let's start your hometown Chicago Bears. Tell me what you expect from them this season. Over under 8.5 wins. What are we looking at?
I think this is a 10-win team. I think what they were missing was a consistent mind at the offensive helm with Caleb Williams there. Not saying they had a bunch of time to try it out, but I think that's one thing that was missing. I think everything else is already in place for them to be a pretty good team. So I would say I see them getting 10 wins, so I take the over on this easily. I think the defense is very, very good, maybe even underrated depending on how you look at it. But I think the defense is really, really good. I love the offense, love what they have. I just think they need to put it together, and I think there's not many people you could have went and got who are going to be better at putting it together for them than Ben Johnson. So I'm looking forward to them as a team. I think their special teams are actually underrated too. I know people don't talk about that a lot, but they have pretty good special teams. And I think that matters when it gets to the middle of the season, to the dog days where the offense and defense don't decide every game. So I think that's important. So yeah, I like them a lot. So I would say yes to the over, and I would give them a 10-win season.
Yeah, I mean, the potential certainly screams for like such a high ceiling. Just before I swing it to Danny, there was just like one thing I want to say about the Bears in just comparison to the rest of the division. I truly believe, I think they have the highest ceiling. However, to get there, I think they just have a lot of questions to answer, a lot more questions to answer than some of the other teams in the division. I find it more likely that those teams kind of just rock out, keep doing what they're doing, than the Bears like really finding everything out. So just to give my quick over under 8.5. I'm gonna go slightly under, maybe like a 7-8 win season, but that doesn't mean it's a failure by any stretch of the imagination. I know haters will probably say, haters of Caleb will probably say it is. It's a tough division, man. It's a real tough division, but if they can flirt around that 8-9 win mark, I think this line is perfect if you ask me. But I'm just gonna have them going under. It's tough sledding. Danny, what do you think?
Man, it's really rough. As much as I like this team, their schedule does not look great. They start off
Not
with
at
the
all.
Vikings. They got all their divisional opponents. Outside of that, they have the Cowboys, much improved this year, in my opinion. Commanders. They have the Eagles. They have the Steelers. They have the Ravens. They have the Bengals. Outside of being in one of the toughest divisions in football, the Chicago Bears play those teams. That is not easy to say anything. And for that reason, like they're easy games that they got in their schedule are like quote unquote the Giants. The Niners are also on their schedule. The Browns are on their schedule too, but like the Niners are on their schedule. Big question mark. Could be good. I love the Ben Johnson hire. I think it's a really good stepping stone year for Caleb Williams. Could see this offense put up like 25 plus points per game at the highest ceiling. A lot of uncertainty. I lean slightly under, but I'm gonna take 9 wins.
You're gonna take the 9 wins?
I'm gonna take just over.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
I think the uncertainty of like the problem is like they could win 13 games, and I don't think it's crazy for me to even say that.
Yeah, it really all depends on okay, are these questions going to be answered, and then what end of the spectrum are they going to be answered? Like Roma Dunze, are we going to have a little bit more of a? Are we going to make that wide receiver 2 leap that we really should have had last year, but we didn't really pick it up until later? Caleb Williams, are we going to be a little bit more decisive with the ball? Are we going to continue to not turn the ball over, which I thought he did really good last year, and whatnot? So,
and for me,
yeah,
I love Luther Burden. I think upgrading from Keenan Allen to Luther Burden, someone who can actually create out of the slot, is going to be pivotal in this offense. And I think they have I think I said this to somebody, and they called me crazy. I said that the Bears have a top 5 overall receiving group in the NFL.
I don't think it's ridiculous because a lot of people just like to look at the duo, right?
Yeah.
I'm
including Komet. I'm including Colson Loveland. I'm including the whole group.
Yeah, if we're calling it a pass catching corp, then like, yeah, they're nice. Even receivers alone, it's Roma Dunze, who I think a lot of people should have high expectations on. DJ Moore, who just 2 seasons ago put up, I think, 1,400 yards receiving. He was a beast when it was him and Fields buddy ball. So, yeah, guys capable of that. And I think I don't even want to know where my mind, like, where does Ben Johnson's mind go when he sees a player like Luther Burden, who is great on the catch and run stuff, doesn't have the most experienced route tree, I guess that's the best way to put it, but I still think you could scheme him up open, especially out of the slot, especially with those other 2 guys on the field, not to mention Komet, not to mention Loveland. So, yeah, I'm not mad at that take. Not at all.
Yeah, Burden ran a 4.41. I think he might use him. Look, he's not JMO, but he might use him in a JMO setting. A lot of those end arounds. He's shifty. He's got the kind of like burst. Yeah,
he's kind of like I think a lot of people like to compare Luther Burden to like Debo coming out, and that's a phenomenal comparison, just with what they can do with the ball in their hands. But I could definitely see him playing a little bit of Ben Johnson, what he needs out of like a JMO guy. Except this guy, instead of like beating everybody deep, you kind of just give him the ball, and you can't really tackle him because he's just so tough. but I digress. Do we have anything else on the Bears before we moved on?
I do
Any
like
guys?
their defense. I just want to
Yeah,
mention.
speak on it.
I think their defense is like. It felt like the Commanders game broke them last year, but they have tough, hard-nosed players, and I think that with a new coach in the building, it's going to allow them to bounce back.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So, with that being said, we can move on to the Green Bay Packers. Not many offseason additions, I guess you could say. Well, they got Aaron Banks to come play guard on a 4-year deal. Zach Tom agreeing to a 4-year extension. All of these are good news for Jordan Love, of course. Defense, Isaiah McDuffie, Isaiah Simmons, Nate Hobbs agreed to a 4-year deal. They did lose. They did lose Jair Alexander. They did lose him to like more of like a cap casualty. Eric Stokes is out. AJ Dillon, whatever. Andre Dillard, whatever. But yeah, their line is set at 9.5, which again, I think a really solid line. I know last year I was kind of looking at it like the race is more so between at the time I thought it was Bears, Packers, and Lions. It turned out to be Vikings, Lions, and Packers kind of trailed off near the end. But yeah, Danny, we can start with you. What are your thoughts on the Packers for this upcoming year?
Yeah, super interesting team. I think this team, they tried to address their biggest issue is getting a receiver one. They drafted a receiver in the first round of the draft. Matthew Golden is going to be certainly somebody who you guys can lean on. They already had a stout defense. The Packers go as far as Jordan Love takes them. He had a bad game against the Eagles in the playoffs, which a lot of quarterbacks did outside of Matthew Stafford. Actually, everyone did in the playoffs. Jaden Daniels played fine in the playoffs, but game was over by the time. But I digress. Jordan Love will take them as far as they go. Their defense is going to play decent football. Can Jordan Love elevate his game in the playoffs? We've seen a boneheaded mistake against the Niners down the stretch already. We've seen him play subpar, throw a couple picks against the Eagles in the playoffs. This Packers team's good. It's been good for a few years. LaFleur is an amazing coach. It's all going to be on Jordan Love and prefacing getting consistent offense. So I think that the Packers can win. Are almost booked to win 10+ games. I think it's all about how much they can do in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think 9.5 is a great line. I think Jordan Love has almost become underrated. I think he had like a little weird stretch in the middle of last season where people are like, "Oh wow, he got paid for 8 games." It's like that's just not true. Like this past season was better than the year before. There's clear developments that he's made as a quarterback. The playoffs weren't great. Okay, it was an absolute slugfest, but. Damn it, he played better. He played better against Philly than Patrick Mahomes did. So it's it's nothing to be ashamed of. When you go on lay an egg against a defense like that, especially when your own defense doesn't do you too many favors. I think my biggest question for them, whether they're gonna, if they're gonna stay, if they're gonna be a 9-win team or a 10-win team or 10+ win team, I guess you could say. This wide receiver group, Matthew Golden, very high on him. I think he's going to be the wide receiver one out of the gate for sure. I think if all of these receivers were in a class together, he would go first. So I'm going to deem him wide receiver one. I think I'm going to go just over. I think 10 wins, maybe 11 wins is their ceiling just because Matthew Golden, I think he's going to be very good, but like, how is he going to stack up against wide receiver ones in the NFC? And as for Jordan Love, how good are we going to look? Are we going to look top 9, top 10 quarterback, or are we, can we continue to make those progressions? Is basically my point. So Danny, you have the over. I have the over. Chris, we can turn to you for the Packers. What do you think about them?
Well, I don't know. It's something about the Packers that doesn't really move me. Like nothing moves me. Like absolutely nothing moves me. Like I can see them being so mid. It's not even funny. But I can also see them being good just because they go under the radar. And I'm thinking maybe because they don't have a lot of the big splash players, but I don't know. I feel like what was the line again?
It was 9.5.
Well, I think they definitely get less wins than the Bears, personally. But I don't know if I would say like they get 7. So I would say under, but I would say about 9 wins. I do believe in Jordan Love as a quarterback. I believe in him a lot. I think his weapons are better than what they've been given credit for, but I also think they have to put that together for it to show. So yeah, I would give them slightly under, but I think they can be a 9-win team for sure.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft has, I think, been one of the more underrated tight ends in the league. I don't think he's McBride. I don't think he's Kelsey or anything like that. But he's been very sturdy along with Musgrave. They're a nice little duo that they have, and we were all losing. It's like, why did you draft 2 tight ends in the same class? But they both turned out to be pretty solid. I mean, one day you're gonna have to pay one over the other. But I digress. I think. I think they can be pretty good. I booked them for just over that 10 win mark. A lot of it goes to that Jordan Love progression. Now, a team that we're moving pretty quickly here, but this team might take a little bit to go through because while I think they are very, very good and they have the second least amount of questions amongst this group, their question just so happens to be the biggest question of them all. How is your first year starting quarterback coming off an injury going to look out of the gate in JJ McCarthy? He's nearly an addition at this rate to this team. First round pick last year, top 15 pick. They re-signed Aaron Jones, which I love that one. Jordan Mason, they got in a trade who did some pretty solid work in relief of Christian McCaffrey last year. I think he could get some real burn in the offense. They solidified up the offensive line. Ryan Kelly 2-year deal. Will Fries, the 5-year deal. As for the defensive side, they got Javon Hargrave, who was really good in Philly. He got a 2-year, $30 million. He was pretty solid with the Niners too, I would say. They got Jonathan Allen on that 3-year deal. Andrew Van Ginkel was able to reach an extension or re-sign. So they're getting a lot of their big pieces back. Isaiah Rodgers from the Eagles. Harrison Smith obviously coming back. He will not hang it up, but as for some of their big departures, obviously they did lose Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and Nick Mullins all left. Talk about like a room cleanse. But yeah, so their line sits at 8.5 actually, and I think that's probably the worst line of this group. It's I think either them or Detroit has the worst line. Personally, for me, I'll start on this one. I think Minnesota is going to go over. I was very big, probably the biggest of us three on JJ McCarthy. Coming out of the draft, I thought a lot of people were getting limited tape mixed up with bad tape. Like that's not true. The tape that was there was good. I personally thought he was closer to that top 3 group than he was to Nix and Penix. That's just me personally. And I don't want to be like, oh, throw anybody back there and they'll make it work with Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, and that group. That's not necessarily true, but we're like, this is still a first-round pick quarterback. And the glimpses we got to see, he's looked really good. I think he's very mobile. We'll see how it is off of the meniscus surgeries. He's had a year to really soak in all the info. And I think the best part about this Vikings team last year wasn't just a throwaway because their first-round pick got hurt. They say, you know what, Sam Darnold, you put together some glimpses over with the Niners. Let's see what you got. They ended up having, I think, the second or third best record in the NFC. It didn't go great, the Week 18 and the wild card, but I think that was just very important, especially for this defensive team, this team that's returning a lot of their havoc makers where like interceptions and fumbles can be hard to replicate. I don't think it's crazy to say that they will cause just as much havoc this year as they did last year. So yeah, I'm gonna go over on that Vikings. I think 8.5 is supremely low, and that could just because I like McCarthy a lot. But curious to hear what y'all think. Whoever wants to start can go ahead.
Well, I'll get mine out the way quick. I think they sit right at the line. I would give them. You said it was 8.5, right? So I would give them 9. I don't know. I don't know if I trust McCarthy yet, just because I haven't seen a lot of them. Which I mean, you did kind of mention already. And I can just see the team taking a step back with other teams taking a step forward. And not mean that they necessarily got worse, but I think the teams around them got significantly better. I think 2 or 3 of them got significantly better, and I don't think they did. So I would give them the over though, right at 9.
Yeah, what do you think, Danny? I can't remember if you were high on McCarthy with me. I don't remember. But
I wasn't at first. I hated McCarthy when he came out, and I love him now. I think this team wins 10 games. I agree with Chris that this team does take a step back this year. They won 14 games, though, last year. You can take a step back and still win 10 games. They won 14 games. Let's acknowledge. They did shit the bed in the playoffs. We have to acknowledge that. Their O-line, very bad in the playoffs. J.J. McCarthy, much more mobile, much more creatable than Sam Darnold can. And I don't think he'd take 9 sacks in the playoffs a game. So I think that, if anything, he might elevate their team to the next level.
Yeah, and I like the way you said that. Like, they can take it, like, they could win 10 games. Like, they could hit this line, and it's okay. Like, 10-7 season with your first year starter, and he's showing glimpses, and you keep Jefferson happy and you keep Addison happy. They're getting a bunch of touches. Defense is going crazy. Like, it's a fun team. What it truly sounds like, not to the wide receiver standpoint, but sounds a lot like the 2021 Eagles, where it's kind of like, okay, first year as a starter with Jalen Hurts. Just what do we got to get? They win 9 games and they make a playoff appearance. Now, I think this Vikings team's way better than that team. Just because they have the best player on the planet. And also, personally, just coming out of the gate, I think J.J. McCarthy is probably more gifted of a thrower than Jalen Hurts. Jalen obviously blows him out of the water on the ground, but we will see. We will see. So we're all going over, kind of all in different fashions, per se. I don't want to say they pick up right where they left off, because that would be a bad place to pick up at, but yeah, that's what we got going on with the Vikings. So just to round up or summarize what we have so far, I have overs on the Vikings 8.5, Packers 9.5, under on the Bears 8.5. Chris has over on the Vikings 8.5, under on the Packers 9.5, and then over on the Bears 8.5. With them getting a 10-win season, as he said. And then Danny, same thing as what Chris had. So let's move to our final team, which is the Detroit Lions, who have now won the division a couple years in a row. Let me get to their additions to track. The biggest loss is obviously Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator. Lost the defensive coordinator to New York. And as for signings, just trying to focus on the big names that they brought in. Derek Barnes on a 3-year, $25 million extension. Everything else is kind of just a lot of re-signing, really retooling. Kirby Joseph got a big payday. They also signed Ravens legend Rocky Scene, along with DJ Reed, which is not like that's a pretty good get, I would say. Departures, though, they lost Ragnow to retirement, which blows guys like Carlton Davis. But yeah, and then they also lost Kaminsky to retirement. But nonetheless, their win line is their over underline is only 10.5. I personally, I don't want to automatically dink them for points because Ben Johnson's not going to be there. It's still the same guys out there. I'm pretty sure the next OC that's coming in is going to see how Goff what works for Jared Goff, what works for Amon-Ra and JMO, what works for Gibbs, and sort of work around that kind of stuff to where they're still going to be one of the best offenses in the league. So I have them over probably like 12, 13 wins. Still one of the premium teams in the NFC. I think here's the real big question. And I haven't seen like a video update on Aiden Hutchinson since he released that video of him running really bad. But he has to come back to at least 90% of himself, because without him, that pass rush was miserable. Like against the top quarterbacks in the league, where they Jane Daniels, they couldn't get no pressure. Josh Allen, they couldn't get pressure. And that's not going to hang. Even in the NFC, where they might not have the most premium quarterbacks, as a lot of people like to say. Jalen Hurts will do them in if you don't get pressure on him. Matt Stafford will destroy you if you don't get pressure on him. Jaden Daniels, even guys like Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy will destroy you if you do not get pressure on him. He's truthfully, out of a clean pocket, one of the better quarterbacks in our league. Jordan Love, and time will tell on JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams, but these are all guys that can beat you if you don't get that premium pass rush that we're looking for. So it kind of just depends where Aiden Hutchinson stands for me. But give me the over on there, 10.5.
I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet. I think they lost a lot with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. I think that's something that's kind of been forgotten about just overall as a whole. So I don't know. I know that, and I do agree they do have the same players, but I'm not sure if Aiden Hutchinson is going to come back good enough to where they would need him to. Because I agree, I think without him, that pass rush is going to suffer miserably. And losing your coordinators, I think you need your stars to be there. That's kind of how I look at kind of like replacing it. I think it's like a good placeholder until you can get the continuity and the work together that you do need. So I would say I would go under the line. I think they're an 11-win team because he says 11.5, right?
10.5.
Oh, 10.5. Yeah, I would say 10 then. I think they're right under. I think they win 10, like for sure, but I can't say over 10. I think I got them at 10 on the head.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see a world where the Lions aren't as good next year, and it kind of revolves around the coordinators just not doing what Goff wants to do and whatnot. Because we've seen Goff with bad coaching.
And I want to tell you exactly what I think.
It's not very good. And he was a buck, and he was a youngin, so not too much on him. But yeah,
that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think the Lions win 9 games and they miss out on the playoffs.
Interesting. Okay. See, I remember a couple weeks ago, me and you were talking about it. I was like, let's talk about how the Lions are going to be last in the division. But I'm like, kind of like, this is such a nice roster. Like, I don't want to say anybody could coach them because I watched what happened to the Eagles 2 years ago. But
isn't that nice of a roster?
It is. It is. I mean, it's an above average quarterback, maybe like 10, 11, 12th in most people's eyes. Amon-Ra's a top 10 receiver. Gibbs is a top 5 back. The line is pretty sturdy. Now, granted, with Ragnow gone, time will tell. And Aiden Hutchinson had that defense moving different. Brian Branch is so special. I think Terrion Arnold's going to have a better year too. But I do see your view where, like, maybe it just doesn't work out with these coordinators. It's very possible.
And it's not even that. I think the team plays I don't know. I watched the Lions. I just watch boneheaded decisions happen throughout the game. Like Dan Campbell gets praised for being a coach by a lot of people, and sometimes I just watch some of the most idiotic football decisions in calling I've ever seen, and that's why they lost the Commanders. They literally sucked. Put it frankly, They talk all that shit and sucked.
So, something you said about Dan Campbell, that as positive as I am on this Lions team, the only difference between Dan Campbell and Nick Sirianni is that people think Dan Campbell is like divorced dad rock style, so people like him more. Truth be told, though, They're gonna put the diamond tester to him this year though, because Nick Sirianni got bad coordinators. Things went bad. They're like, oh, he might need to be fired. He got Kellen Moore, who's been fired from 2 places, but brought in Kellen Moore. Why am I blanking on our defensive coordinator? What am I doing here?
Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio. Oh my gosh. He's so low key. Brought in Fangio, 2
Uncle
great
Vic.
coordinators. I've always liked Kellen Moore, but you bring in those 2 guys and things are good again. But now you lost him again. So low key, he's kind of getting diamond tested this year too. But I think the Eagles, their roster is like too good. I think it's a little too good to not work out. But Dan Campbell, this is your first time being diamond tested, so we'll see. We'll see.
And
that cool.
A lot of the reason I say
go
under,
for it on 4th and 18 vibe can't save you if the team's bad. So
yeah, a lot of the reason I say under on the Lions is their schedule, and it's kind of scary to me. So outside of their division, they've got the Ravens, Bengals, they've got the Chiefs, they've got the Bucks, who have had their number, they've got the Commanders, they've got the Eagles, they've got the Rams, they've got the premier teams in the NFC, and even some premier teams in the AFC. And with that in mind, I'm out. I don't think they make the playoffs.
He's saying, with that being said, I'm out. No, it's definitely not a bad take. I do have to say.
I'm not a fan of teams losing their coordinators with a middle-aged quarterback who's immobile, who really relies on just getting the ball out, and his scheme. He relies on good scheme.
That is true. It is true.
Getting put into a new scheme.
I do want to say that not to
Jahmyr Gibbs could carry him. I will say that.
He could. But so okay, here's my thing. I guess a lot of people have these 2 in similar parts of their quarterback rankings, but Baker had Canales and was really good, and he lost him. It's like, okay, how are you gonna do without your coordinator? He was better with Liam Cohen. He was better. So I mean, time will tell on Goff. Time will tell. I think Baker's gotten to a point where I think he's a real good drop back passer. That hasn't always been the case. His big year on the Browns was a lot of play action stuff, things to kind of scheme his guys open. And he took advantage of it, but Baker came all the way back from being broken. So that's why Baker is one of the baddest motherfuckers in the league. So
let's just say this: they signed their new offensive coordinator was the passing game coordinator for the Broncos last year. Whatever you want to make of that.
That guy made Bo Nix's life very easy. Remember, I wasn't big on Bo Nix. I'm still not. I don't know how much more he can develop.
Hey man, I think Bo Nix could be easily better than Jared Goff.
I don't think it's ridiculous to say that. I do know Goff would go 1 between the 2 of them in a draft. I know Goff was really solid as a prospect, but time will tell. But Nix is a better athlete in today's age. Maybe that gets him drafted higher. I don't know.
And he's friends with Zach Wilson, so of course he's cool.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Zach Wilson's one of the coolest guys in the league. Not good at football, but
he's cool.
He's a pretty cool cat. And there are some guys like that, honestly. There are truly some guys in the NFL who aren't good. I'll never defend them in that, but like they're just cool guys though, like Zach Wilson is a cool guy. I'm not defending him on the gridiron. He's not good. There's no way to work around that. Drew Lock, not really good. I'll go to bat for him though. I mean, he's a cool guy. Trying to think of some other dudes like Avonte Maddox. Not very good. But and even before the Super Bowl breakup, I'd kind of always be like, you know what, man? He was there when we was on that 2018 squad with the ski mask squad. He always gonna be good. Him, Cravon LeBlanc, they're good, man. They're good with me. Anything we have to say before we get on out of here? Pretty short episode. Didn't have too much to say on everything.
I could add a trivia game. I have a player that I've been thinking of a lot recently.
Oh boy, this could quite literally go anywhere. But that's all right. Me and Chris can chop down at the tree. Is he currently playing?
Then it's NFL. He's not currently playing.
Okay. So he's retired.
Did he retire within the last 3 years?
No.
Oh, so he's older.
Did he play in the AFC? Majority of his career in the AFC?
No.
NFC guy retired at least 3 years ago, or more than 3 years ago.
Did he play offense?
I will say he played offense, and he did play in the AFC in his career, just not the majority. Like you wouldn't remember him as an AFC player.
Did he play offense?
Yeah,
He did. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Was that the question you just asked?
Yeah, so you get another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he on the offensive line?
No.
Okay.
Or was he a receiver?
He was not a receiver.
Was he a quarterback?
Not a quarterback.
Okay. So he's either running back, tight end.
Is he a tight end?
Not a tight end.
Okay, so it's got to be running back. I have no idea.
Retired running back. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Not that I know of. Yeah, he's definitely not in the Hall of Fame.
That means he might be.
Hey. Oh.
I'm not trying to say he's a scrub, but like,
dude, he's not a scrub. He's
okay.
If you think he's a scrub, you didn't watch football in the last 20 years. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
All right, so was his peak in the mid 2010s?
Yes, that is like his career.
Okay, mid 2010.
Okay. NFC running back.
Was he drafted before 2010?
Yes.
To Marshawn Lynch?
No.
I tried. Try to throw a guess out there.
Dang.
We should probably break it down to the division, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you go ahead and ask that, Tom.
All right. Did he play in the NFC West?
No.
Okay. East?
Nope.
Oh. North?
Yeah. On top with
Okay.
the video.
Okay. So NFC North back that retired more than 3 years ago, but was drafted before the 2010s. Prime was like middle of the 2010s.
Did he play for the Bears?
He did play for the Bears.
Is it Matt Forte?
Matt Forte, baby.
Hey, I want to know something funny about this. Y'all want to know something funny about Matt Forte? Something crazy. So
here we go.
No. I don't know. I don't know.
Far from a bum. I didn't need to put that out there.
Yeah,
No. Look, definitely not a bum. Definitely not a bum. What could have been someone's fantasy 101. You can't even be mad at it,
bro. All right, so funny enough, I was like from like 6th to 8th grade. I was in the scholarship program. I was in the scholarship program with his sister. She had no idea that she was his sister until like we got into the like scholarship program thing. Like she found out like maybe 3 weeks into our 8th grade year that they were brother and sister.
What do you mean?
Because like, apparently she was adopted.
They had a DNA test or something?
She was adopted and didn't have any idea that they were like related.
Oh, wow.
And then found out as he was like on his run of going crazy. Like I was in 8th grade. I don't even want to say the year, but like around that time, he was actually like starting to get like really, really good. So it was just crazy that you said that. That's why when you said NFC North, the only person that would come to my mind was Matt Forte because I really don't know any other ones besides AP, obviously.
Yeah.
One last thing before we get out of here, because I brought up earlier the Madden cover thing. Who was the cover of 2K the year y'all were born? I think want to say mine was probably. I'm just gonna guess Allen Iverson. Yeah,
it was AI for us.
Yeah.
Wait, AI had back-to-back years?
AI was the 2K cover for a long time.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a 2K cover, unfortunately.
Wait. AI was a cover in 2001, 2, and 3?
It was really
he was 2K, bro. He was like, yes.
And it was ESPN basketball for a year, and it was, I want to say, Ben Wallace. It was somebody there, ESPN basketball.
Bro, Ben Wallace. Going from AI to Ben Wallace is crazy.
Remember they kept putting Michael Jordan on the cover like every 3 years?
Yeah,
2010?
2011 he got it, and then 2012 it was a him, Bird, Magic cover. And you know what's funny? Because when I first got into basketball, it was those three as a cover. I'm like, I was just in my head, those are the three best basketball players ever. That's how they like promoted it.
Yeah.
It was like those three were the three best players ever. When you did like, oh, you could go replay like big games of theirs and stuff. Like you would have Stockton and Karl Malone on the NFL. I'm like, okay, so like these are the 15 best players ever. That's just how I thought it went down.
That's how they want you to see it.
And then free will kicked in, and I was like, you know what? Y'all can't tell me anything. Kobe is top 5.
Free will.
Just a strange couple weeks of Kobe dialogue, really. Simultaneously fighting both sides. Yes, I think he's top 5. Yes, I also think he was a huge asshole his last couple years.
He's in my top 10. I wouldn't say he's in my top 5 though. Like he's probably like 8 for me. 8.
It's not bad. I think when people are like he's barely top 10, I'm like, all right, you talking?
Yeah, that's not true.
But
I think he should be in everybody's top 10. He should probably be in everybody's top 7, and then from there it's up to you. But I think he should be in everybody's top 10 for sure.
See, my reason for top 5 though,
which I can see. It's either him or Duncan
I mean,
for me. That makes
30K points, MVP, gajillion all NBA teams, gajillion all defense, even if he didn't deserve some of them. But we're talking greatest players of all time, not best per se. And if it's best, the argument might get better for him. But regardless,
my top 5 is Drake. Oh,
so is mine. And
but Tim Duncan has those same accolades, low key. As
he really do. But you know what he lacks for me personally?
Just aura, obviously.
Aura.
Yeah, he has zero
aura, and he's never had like a hard. Let me not say he hasn't had a hard moment in his career, but like
everything felt easy.
Having, even in his early years, he's David Robinson, and then the couple years where he's getting beat by Kobe and Shaq in the playoffs, he's got like a baby Manu and Tony Parker or whatever. But like they grow into nice players, and he's got Popovich. But I don't want to be that guy like, oh, he had all this help. Like, if someone is dunking over Kobe, I'm not going to, like, show up at their house and, take them out. I might. But, no, I really won't. Like, that's why, like, Tim Duncan, age or, like, history treated him so well. Because when he retired, people were probably, 8? He was, 8 to 10 for most people, maybe even out of it. But, like, as you get separated from his career, and you're like, wow, 5 rings. And all these defensive teams, all NBA teams, 4-time finals. And it's like, wow, like he's really, he actually is one of the best players ever played. And while true, I guess maybe living in it would have done more justice. I guess I don't know. But with that being said, that's everything we got for you guys today. Again, I want to remind you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star if you download the episode if you really enjoyed it. From AP New Freezer, coached by Amigos DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.